To start this project, you're going to need a wire wreath form, fold the mop in half, cut the mop in half. Now what I have here is 4 mops that I have cut in half. I'm going to take half of the mop and I'm going to add a little hot glue in here, fold the bottom up and press that into place, and then folding the top part down. And I'll need to hold these in place until they cool completely. Next, I'll be using some battery operated LED lights. I'm going to go ahead and hot glue all of that wire into place. I'm going to flip the wreath form over and I'm going to place those bulbs onto the wire wreath form.
And I hope this inspires you to create a dollar store winter wreath of your own. You'll take a coffee filter, place the center at the bottom, squeeze up the filter to make a flower shape, and twist the bottom to hold in place. I started by hot gluing the twisted coffee filters onto the wreath, working around in a circle until it was as full as I wanted it to be. I added some battery operated LED cool lights, traced the letters onto cardboard, and then cut them out. Attach the filters to the letter. I then hot glued some of the twisted coffee filters onto the letter. I added my wreath from before to the center to be the O and created the word joy.
To start this project, what I want to do is take my small tubes and I want to fold them in half. And I just want to cut off little strips of my tube until I have it all cut apart. Now to assemble my snowflakes, I want to start with a big dollop of glue right in the center here. And then I'm going to start sticking in the edges of my paper tube. So I've got it folded in half and I'm going to start popping these in between my bigger sections. And I'm going to add just a second layer of that folded paper tube, flip it over and just peel that wax paper right off of that dab of hot glue on the bottom. And I'm going to take some craft glue, paint this glue all over the edge of my snowflake. I'm going to dip it into my sparkle, roll it around. So once this is completely dry, I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. These beautiful winter snowflakes couldn't have been easier to make.
This is a foam wreath form here. Start gluing these ping pong balls just in the center. I'm actually going to work on the outside as well. Here's the white acrylic paint that I'm going to use. Just give it a quick coat. It doesn't have to be anything perfect. So now my paint is all dry here. I'm actually going to glue those down here and create a second layer. I'm just going to take some white glue, randomly add some down, smooth glue all the way around. So I'm going to take that fake snow and pile it on top of our glued area. I'm just going to take a little bit of ribbon and there you go. I'm just going to hang that on my door.
So I have some zip ties or cable ties, and I'm just going to wrap these around my railing and around my pool noodle and pull it right through there. So now I have that whole railing covered with the pool noodles. So I'm going to tuck a white pipe cleaner underneath my zip tie and then pull it up. Wrap right around my silver garland right here. Trim off my pipe cleaners really close like so. I picked up 4 of these little white Christmas trees. To take the little base off and make sure you pull all of those pieces up using a cable tie. Tuck these right underneath my garland. Poke these right into our pool noodle. And here we are with our beautiful winter garland on our staircase.
First, we're going to start with these large tongue depressors and we're going to cut those in half, and then we grabbed an embroidery hoop and we're going to take those little pieces of wood that we cut in half and we're going to glue them at the bottom. This is going to be the base of our centerpiece. Next, I grabbed this little wood tray. I hot glued that in. Then I grabbed my little ornaments and glued them up one side. Then I grabbed one of my flowers. Then I grabbed this little pearl branch and held that down with a floral wire and made a cute little bow. And we're gonna wrap those twinkle lights all the way around. And this turned out spectacular. I love the way this turned out.
First, we're going to start with this 9-foot flocked garland.
So now that we have about a 36-inch piece of garland, fluff out your reeds and your garlands and your Christmas trees. So once you snip down one bay leaf, so we're just taking these, holding them at the tip, hot gluing them in place. So our final piece of that bay leaf we'll place on the end.
So we'll just start by placing 3 of these in, and then just poke them in.
And we can start hot gluing these in place too.
So now we just have this very narrow ribbon, and then I'm just going to take a little leftover piece of pipe cleaner, wrap it around. I'm using a black pipe cleaner today. Dipping it in your glue skillet, you can poke that wherever you find it necessary. You can also cut those at an angle. And so this piece is a little long, so we'll just snip that off. And look at how pretty this looks.
Be sure to grab a can of spray foam.
So you want to start off fairly small, and it's going to start filling. Make these however you'd like. So we want to make a bunch of these, and then we're just going to let these dry overnight. Once your pieces are about halfway dry, I like to peel them up at that point. And what I want to do is add some texture to the back side. Once your foam popcorn pieces are all ready and dry, you're just going to poke the skewer right through the foam. Okay, so I've got this on my skewer, and I'm gonna start stringing my popcorn balls. Pull my twine right out the other side and just string it right through your baubles here.
This giant popcorn garland was so fun to make, and there are so many ways you can use it around the holidays.
So we're gonna start with the outline of a snowflake, and then you're gonna cut 4 9-inch dowels, lay out our first 18-inch dowel. I'm gonna use hot glue, and you're gonna rotate the dowel till you get a good angle and it's up against the wood here. And put 1 staple in the top right here. We're gonna do the same on this side. Push it right up against there, and then we'll put a staple in right there. On these little 2-inch dowels, the same thing. And this thing has come together real nice. We're gonna add a little bit more glue on the back side here, just to hold it together. And there it is, the final snowflakes.
I'm gonna start out by just removing the hanger off of the top of it, okay? Just went around and cut it in little pieces first, and then they'll come off. Now I have a 1/4-inch dowel, and then we're gonna turn this over, and because this is white, you can kind of see, mark that with my finger and pull the dowel rod out. And what we're gonna do is I'm going to take a glue gun and melt a hole in this. So we're gonna put that right through there, and you're just gonna wanna wedge these down in your pot. Let's try it right. There we are. Now I have some buffalo snow, and I'm just gonna tuck this all around here to cover this styrofoam. Melt a tiny little hole in here. These are just sticks I picked up in my yard. I found this snowman hat ornament. I'm just gonna push that right onto there. So I'm gonna put plenty of hot glue in there. My artificial carrot, and go about right here and cut it. I'm gonna use the hot glue, and then we're gonna give him a nose. And I'm just gonna wrap that around our little snowman's neck. Have fun making a snowman of your own. Get creative, okay?
I found these disco ball ornaments on Amazon, and I had an idea. I started by adding the disco ball ornaments to my tree. Then I ran to Dollar Tree and grabbed some white and silver florals and began dispersing them throughout. Adding different textures and shapes gives it a very sparkly, wintry look. Next, I added some neutral palm leaves that I had and filled in any empty areas with some other shiny silver ornaments. To finish up the look, I cut up a leftover box, duct taped the flaps down, and bent it to fit my tree. Then I added some faux wood grain contact paper. I placed it under my tree and finished it all off with 3 large disco balls and a light up star on top. And my designer-inspired disco ball tree is all ready. I really love how this turned out. It's extra sparkly and perfect if you want to keep up your tree for a New Year's party or all winter long.
I'm just going to take this and drape it over my chandelier. I picked up this fabric at a local fabric store on clearance. I'm just gonna kind of zhuzh across the middle of the table there. I picked up on Amazon some fun little mirror ball dollar store silver chargers and white dinner plates. I have these pretty silver salad plates, and then I'm gonna top those with a pretty little appetizer plate I bought at Michael's, these little silver beads. And we're just gonna sprinkle those on the table. Plain, clear wine glasses. Added a little silver metallic bow instead of a more formal napkin ring. And we're down to flatware for the table. Now, if you're familiar with these little lights, battery operated lights, That's how I'm going to finish our table, but I'm just going to tuck that right among our garland. I hope this inspired you to set a fun table for Christmas, Christmas Eve, or New Year's Eve, and have fun with it. I'm starting this project with an 18-inch straw wreath form. So let's take this, and we're going to take some S-pins, push your pin right down in there, and we're just going to wrap the whole wreath very thick. Our wreath is all covered with the tinsel. I'm going to use this to loosely wrap, and now we're going to add those disco balls. I'm going to use these S-pins, so I'm going to take this stick and this wire that it's on, secure it with a couple of S-pins. Here's my wreath on my front door, and you can see I've just added a couple little strings of garland along the sides of my door and along the top to coordinate with it.